pulled newspaper articles.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, people call them Mayor Cruzan's balls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
That's well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
But there was even an article written in the paper speculating that one could become dislodged and roll down the street. It was the dumbest.
Oh, my
All
lord.
the
So
things
far,
in the
that's
world to
my
worry
number
about.
one.
We're
Well,
being an educated community. I mean.
Oh
One thing
my
on the
gosh.
health thing, to switch from Cruzan's issues.
Let me
here yet.
She's on her way.
Okay.
I don't have an ETA, but it should be soon.
She asked that I,
Thank you for
yes,
this.
cover up a little bit.
For the red zone.
That's the case. All right, Jeff, if you're good.
Yeah, yep.
Big
All right.
red.
Are we live?
I'm gonna call this meeting of the Long-Term Finance Planning Committee of the Monroe County Council to order. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, and we are here in the HR Council Conference Room with a Teams connection. And so we've got six items on our agenda today, and the goal is for us to get through these items because the Monroe County Council, which we're all part of, will meet at 5 today. So let's go ahead and get to it. I know in the room we've got Counselor McKim. We also have the auditor, Brianna Gregory, with us as well. We're joined by Counselor Munson. The two voting members are Counselor McKim and I. So with that, item number 2 is adoption of our agenda. I would take a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
I've got a motion. I will second for purposes of discussion. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, let's go to a voice vote on adoption of agendas. If you're for it, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is item number 3, a target fund resolution, and our auditor has agreed to kind of talk to us about some of these things that have been long-term finance committee discussions for some time.
Yeah, so the proposed resolution 2024-18 is a recommendation from our financial solutions group who we've been contracting with to aid with this long-term financial planning. Part of that is they recommended a target fund balance resolution to help kind of guide the county, just ensuring we have those healthy balances in our fund to support expenditures and the county where necessary. So the funds currently in the resolution are general, aviation, special purpose lit, motor vehicle highway, health, public safety lit, rainy day, reassessment, the lit economic development, and self-insurance. So we worked with FSG to establish not only a minimum cash balance, but also a target balance. The target balance would be ideal to meet. However, the minimum is like, do not go below, obviously. So this is kind of the end product.
I should warn your seat, Miss Counselor Hawk. I did, has been advertised.
I did my seat more.
There you go.
We're joined by Counselor Hawk for our meeting.
Sorry.
Folks.
You're fine.
And Molly's actually drafted this resolution, and I think I'll pass the mic if I may. But yes, we were just going over the minimum and target, and just this has been a recommendation that we reviewed with FSG.
So this is, like Bree said, this is a recommendation from FSG. FSG actually provided the template for this resolution, and we just filled in the numbers. Kim, Bree, and myself, even though I was just there for a placeholder, because Kim and Bree carried the weight on, finding what the cash balances and target balances should be. We worked really closely with FSG. They looked at this and they're, happy with the way it reads, and so we're just presenting it to LTF, and so that LTF can consider whether they'd like to make their recommendation to full council to enact this resolution.
So my only question, I'm sure it was discussed, I just can't recall at this time, is between the minimum and target balance. When we spoke with FSG, they noted that this would be used by rating agencies.
If they know what.
That this would be used by rating agencies to kind of assist with, elevating that and so forth. Yes. So are they gonna look at the minimum or the target is my question.
I
Or,
have to confer with FSG because I do not remember. I can look back on meeting notes.
because obviously we want to make sure that we're meeting whatever is going to be looked at by the rating agency, so.
I thought they were gonna look at the minutes.
And that makes sense to me,
What I remember too.
okay.
Counselor McKim, you had a question?
The only question I have about the numbers is about health. That's kind of an oddly specific number compared to all the others.
We went and looked at the match that are required. to make, for the health fund, and so that's the match that we got from the state.
Okay,
For the 2025 budget.
I see.
Counselor Hawk.
Yes, my question would be about the fund that's covered strictly by the income tax. Because we know that they don't have to wait for property tax settlement. And so I'm not questioning the dollar amount, but I think that we should think about that separately, perhaps than other funds. Just a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. But ultimately, this is really just to give I would think the bondholders the bond raters confidence that we've got our eyes on the funds. And,
I mean, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure we're not tying our hands into that.
yeah,
But I think some of us believe that we can release some funds and it should be okay. But
although most of the numbers are pretty low. I mean, that public safety lit, what was our operating balance in last year's 4B? Do we remember? Find
the
it.
balance is still pretty high.
It's
We
back to
just-
the-
I mean, even though we reduced it by 0.01, it was still rather high. And my question on that was really going to be, did the supplemental, and I think part of this paper was talking about the supplemental. Did the supplemental go into the special purpose fund, since that is the fund that was created separately?
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'll need to review to ensure, but I think that is supposed to go to general fund.
That's why I thought I read somebody say, and I think that's really strange.
We did it if we had documentation for whatever occurred, but I have to review, I have to refresh myself. It's been a while.
Because we gotta remember that income tax was put in place due to the state allowing us to do it, and we had to reduce the general fund by a certain dollar amount in order to because we used to pay those expenses out of the general fund. And so in order to get this tax, they said we had to reduce the general fund and move those expenses over there to the special purpose. It's one thing to reduce that rate and start pulling it out, because we can put that rate up and down, but it's another thing to take away money from it already in existence. I don't, that's just my thought.
I understand. I remember being surprised by the guidance, but we followed whatever the state had set forth.
So I hope they read the legislation.
We did. So, continue.
So the only fund that I think, and we know we needed to shore that up anyway, is reassessments. That's the only one that I think we'd be potentially maybe aviation falling below at least what the target balance is. Probably not the minimum balance, but we already knew that those we're probably running those a little leaner than we wanted to be.
What about the jail tax fund? I don't see that anyplace.
We did not put the correctional tax fund on here. And I think that's because we talked about pledging the bond.
Yeah.
Right.
So we might need to amend one if we were to raise the.
Was like their recommendation was we put in place the resolution, and then the resolution gets reviewed annually to adjust the amounts. That's why there's the 2025 target balance. And then, so this is not a forevermore pass. This is a one that we'll look at each year.
If there's something on there that says, if any part of this should be, different from what the legislation says, the rest of it's okay, but then that part would change, or, I forget how that language goes, but you know what I'm talking about,
You mean the state legislation or the?
the state legislation.
The severability.
Yeah.
We can change this every year, or, can we change
I
this?
don't think we could change it anytime we want.
I think we change it every week. if it
On your
was-
QE, it says at least we're gonna make, it says we will evaluate the resolution establishing annual funds each year to make any necessary adjustments. It doesn't specify how often. So any necessary
I
adjustments.
mean, The reason I say that is because we're not tying it to a percent, we're tying it to a dollar amount. And those dollar amounts will change drastically over the next 20 years.
And originally we had
And I'll
percentages in
hear
there.
that, Elaine.
Originally we had percentages in there and FSG recommended that we went to a dollar amount.
To kind of force us
Yeah.
to review it.
And I get that.
Yeah, otherwise it becomes a paper tiger. The one thing I kind of appreciate about this is the sort of fiscal good government that can come from the long-term finance committee, which is in its first year. So theoretically, unless future iterations of council remove this, they're going to be reviewing items like this as well as talking with FSG as this process moves forward. Does anybody know how long has FSG wanted us to do this in prior years?
At least a year. I mean, I know they've mentioned it in the past.
This is a good example that this committee was a good vehicle to kind of get these things done and over with.
Yeah, both of these things, the rainy day and the target fund
Yeah.
balance, they've mentioned multiple times.
All right. Any other discussion on this target fund resolution? So what we would do is if we would adopt this with the due pass on to council, they could look at it tonight.
And Ms. Mosier prepared a resolution that basically says LCF is either adopting this for to be presented to council or not adopting it. So I think you could vote on it and then she has a signature page already.
I move we adopt it for presentation to the council.
I will second that for purposes of discussion. All right, so we've got any further discussion on this target fund resolution? Let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
motion passes unanimous.
All right, thank you. Next, that takes us to item 4 on our agenda, the rainy day ordinance proposal amendment. And again, I believe Ms. Turner King, you prepared this as well.
I did. This was also a recommendation from FSG so that we solidify what council is okay with rainy day being used for. So procedurally how it would work, since this is codified in our code, council would be making the recommendations to the commissioners for the commissioners to make these changes to the code. So I'll talk through the changes briefly. Number 1, we are changing COIT to local income tax because it's not COIT anymore. Number 3, Bree and I worked on looking at the language to make it match that statute, which is the rainy day statute. And then that takes us to letter C. We're eliminating 1, which was to supplement county budgets when the county experiences shortfalls in COIT. Again, it references COIT and it kind of is all that language is somewhere else in here as well. 2, we took out the word sudden because emergency and unforeseen kind of implies that it's going to be sudden. 3 kind of replaces the language in 1, which is to bridge funding gaps when we have shortfalls or significant delays in receiving revenue. And I think it's going to be the auditor's recommendation to remove 4 because I don't know that we want to use rainy day for matching grants. So I am prepared to edit this document on the fly and remove the language from 4. That is the
Totally agree.
Do we have unanimous consent to strike that?
Absolutely.
No objection, so ordered. 4 is removed. 5 now becomes 4.
Yes, the lettering
And
changes.
be specific for anybody watching this in history or today to provide for matching funds for grants when all other funding sources have been considered and or would be insufficient has now been struck from this document.
And I want to remind you that we say the same thing every time we put in a bond. We say, oh, well, we have no way to cover that any other way. We just sit there with our fingers crossed and sign it like as if we're telling the truth. If we use the same theory with rainy day, that rainy day will be gone. We'll match it. We operate all of county government with bonds, with grants. So, yes.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Turner King?
I don't believe so, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay. Counselors, any other questions? Yes, Counselor Hawk.
The the unused and unencumbered balances remaining in general and special tax levy funds after the have been fulfilled. Okay, there was one, no, that's not it, because we don't have that one fulfilled. Okay, I'm just trying to watch for our special purpose tax, that we're not taking money from there unless we as a body have determined we want to look at it. The percentage coming in, so. Because what we did last time was we reduced that rate for special purpose and allowed them to use up that heavy cash balance, and that thereby putting in place that jail tax without putting a special burden onto the taxpayer. If we put it over in a rainy day, that's not gonna help that taxpayer by reducing that tax rate, total tax rate.
Right, so, but so what are you trying to prevent here? You're trying to prevent,
Dollars moved over from balances over to rainy day, when what we would rather do, at least some of us would rather do, is to reduce the rate on the taxpayer and let them spend down that cash balance and move that rate over to the jail tax.
I don't think this ordinance or the code section addresses transfers into rainy day. It would just address expenditures. from
It would
rainy day.
address
I
what,
mean,
I thought I read it, but all, any unused balance or whatever would go over.
well, it just says that
What's
we are
allowed to
allowed
be,
to,
yeah.
yes, it's we're
Yeah.
allowed to upon resolution. None of that's automatic.
Yes.
There's
Oh.
nothing in there that's automatic.
Okay.
Yeah, usually the auditor will just simply make your recommendation and you say yea or nay, right? Every year.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to do is make sure that we're watching out for the taxpayer, not just for county government, but
yeah, we get a choice on this. There's nothing that automatically goes in.
It's a rainy day action. It's approved
A
by.
vote from the council.
That's good. And rainy day votes require
Supermajority.
which,
To expend.
To
right?
expend.
Expend out of,
which for us is defined as two,
I think it's.
that's what it says in here.
Yeah.
It goes here 2/3.
what I'd like to remind folks is that the state used to have a lot larger trust fund set up for us. So that if we saw a shortfall in the income tax, they could take it from that trust fund. If ever they need to, then we're gonna have to pay them back if they've given us too much. And because they don't hold nearly as much as what they used to, many of us thought we needed to have some set back so that we would have a way to sort of even that revenue out.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure we weren't spending down every penny.
But of course, in reality, it turned out that the trust funds, having too much in the trust fund was much more of an issue.
Oh,
Then-
it was.
yeah, then
I
having
didn't want
too
them to
little.
have too much.
Yeah,
And because the incomes have really gone up, that they're holding way too much.
yeah. Well, Larry DeBoer, I mean, he demonstrated, I remember mathematically how the trust fund, because of the way the lid is structured, basically, it was always, the way it was set up, it was always gonna grow.
Right, we don't make $2 an hour anymore,
But you're right, it's now been they've pared it down so much that,
like 15%
yeah,
now.
I think so.
I guess.
I'm good with it, with the change that we made.
so we've got a resolution before us. Any other questions or discussion?
So. I mean, look, okay, we're on this.
Yeah.
We're on the
ordinance, but
amendment,
it's not
right?
your resolution.
Okay, okay.
All right, well, I move we adopt the rainy day ordinance for presentation to the county council.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Again, I appreciate the diligence on this and getting before getting this put into action. That's why this committee is here. All right, let's go to a roll call vote.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes,
Counselor Deckard,
Yes,
Counselor McKim,
Yes,
motion passed unanimous.
okay. That takes us to item number 5, rainy day transfer resolution.
because that
I
was not.
haven't received a copy.
I didn't see anything.
That is the missing portion.
I'm just hoping that if there's a lot of money in rainy day, we could pull some of that out to, rather than putting in the tax so high.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Can you forward it to Courtney to put up, or are you on?
While we wait for the item 5 to come up, I do want to know, in the good spirit of bipartisanship, Counselor Hawk and I are sharing glasses tonight. There's hope for the future.
I brought mine for you.
You've got yours. I'm amazed they worked for both of us. That's awesome. We'll give it just a second and then we'll come back
One
to.
eye that I can see out.
What's in resolution? Sorry about that.
Oh, we got. Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, the business of not getting our emails on time caused me to be late, as I was on the phone with Mike. Something we should have heard on Friday and not today at noon.
When is the hearing?
What?
Or when, what's the next
Oh,
day?
He just called me and I said, I'm talking to you.
All right.
Okay,
And, you know, I should, but I wanted to have more time to discuss it properly.
Auditor, what do you got?
sure, okay. So this is a resolution to transfer cash from the general fund to the rainy day fund based on FSG's recommendation. And the target fund balance resolution that we just reviewed. So this would, okay, so I kind of just go through, the status of everything, noting that the current rainy day cash balance, as of the date of this resolution was $7,772,488. I am recommending a transfer in the amount of $2,227,512 to meet the target fund balance for the rainy day fund. And, I noted that we received a supplemental local income tax distribution of 3.9 million, to kind of help support this.
Where is it now? I can hear the supplemental is setting where?
Pardon?
The supplemental is now sitting in
General
general
fund.
fund
Mhm.
cash balance.
Right.
That's what the cash balance is.
Yes. Just based on FSG's recommendation and the auditor's role to make this recommendation, I drafted this resolution for your review and approval, hopefully, to get us to that target balance. So let me know if you have any questions, please.
So that, this transfer out is not reflected in the draft 4Bs that you're gonna present
It is
tonight.
not.
Okay, so that will
It's-
reduce that operating balance by
Mhm.
that much. Okay.
It will.
And as a reminder, that will also, because we plan to obligate 3 million of that every year. Doesn't mean we're gonna spend it all, but when you're looking at the cash balance that's available, you're gonna be looking at what's already been obligated and what's left from there, which creates the cash balance. Of course, we'll know that. So we have to keep in mind, it's already got 3 million, it's gonna be sitting there all the time.
Appropriated, yes, but hopefully, but.
Yeah, I hope it will be appropriated, so.
So it means the next year, we, meaning you, you all will have to, keep your eye on that and presumably the auditor will make the recommendation to transfer back in to top off anything that was spent because of an emergency.
Yes. Now, just a thought here. We're going through budget sessions here shortly, and I'm going to be reviewing all of that together. So this could be something that we do in November after all of that occurs.
It's a good call.
And then, the resolution is a living and breathing document that could always be adjusted if we see fit. So, I mean, obviously this transfer should only be occurring when we, can't afford to do so. I think we can, however, we can reassess after budget if you'd like.
And is this covered in here, the amount that we're allowed to put in there every year and still go for it?
We won't touch the amount we're allowed. It's like a percent of the total budget for the county.
the total budget.
So we're not even close.
No, you
Are
would-
we, but did we put anything in there?
no, you would have had to approve it.
We still have not put anything in there this year.
We have not. I don't think we did it last either.
And didn't do it last year either. So no wonder we're sitting there with a higher than usual, very unusual.
Right, and we've dipped into rainy day, so I think it's appropriate to make this transfer. But obviously you'll have to discuss and make that decision.
I would rather approve this right away,
And then we won't spend money.
because otherwise, right, exactly, because otherwise there's gonna be pressure to spend it.
Yeah.
And this is money that we need to save.
We're getting dangerous.
Sharing more than glasses. All right. So is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Yes, second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on this. Any further discussion? I will note the good stewardship now allows for things later, and it helps to mitigate things when they're bad. And that's why the rainy day fund is such an important consideration of this committee, why we spent so much time on all this.
So,
All right, anything else?
just if I may bring up another discussion regarding an FSG recommendation. They had talked to us about self-insurance and also making a transfer to that fund to support the target fund balance. However, that's not something we have statutory authority to do. So what we would need to do to supplement that fund, because costs are going up, would be to raise the overall cost per employee that we budget. We don't need to do that for 2025. After speaking with employee services, they're comfortable where we are with the amount budgeted for 2025. However, to reach that target fund balance, it's something we'll need to consider for 2026. So,
Yeah, yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and yeah, I've just been hearing reports in the news about the kind of dramatic increase in
It's
cost
going to be-
on health insurance.
And-
So we're talking 5.5% this year. That's the increase to 13,000. So we're already, dealing with more than CPI increase in.
And what could happen is if something dire happens during the year, that it needs to have more money moved into it, we would have the money sitting there rainy day or someplace to be able to bolster that back up. And leave it at the percent that you're talking about for this coming year. But we know that if something happens, we'd have to go in there and add money.
yeah, I mean, we're still sitting at, I don't have the balance in front of me, but well over $1 million. That was the balance before the transfer, the latest transfer of self-insurance. So it's just, we're doing okay. It's just not at the balance we want to maintain moving forward. So after the dust settles, after, this increase for 2025, we can reassess where we are and then, budget accordingly.
Any further discussion? All right, let's take a vote on this. Roll call, please.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes,
Counselor McKim,
Yes,
motion passed unanimous.
Okay. That is all that we have on this agenda, and there's a council meeting here in about 27 minutes. So with that, you have enough time.
in order to make sure that we're staying sound, and I have difficulty using this word, actuary, say that word for me.
actuarially.
Sound, I think that's something we need to keep a closer eye on, because they, can come and make a presentation to us. But if we don't remain sound, we'll have to make up the difference. And so I just think we need to keep that on our list of things long-term to be thinking about and just keeping an eye on it more often.
Okay.
If you'll look at our budget, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the health insurance or the sheriff's pension?
Sheriff.
Sheriff,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I said, actuarially sound applies to both, so.
Right, to both.
Yeah,
Both,
okay,
but since we were talking about one, I thought I better throw in the other, because,
got it.
actually 200,000 here or there, and I mean, it's money.
Yeah.
250,000, I think it was.
That's a good no.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Seeing none. that is all we've got. Let's adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Anyway.